So I'm now going to teach you how to sew a seam and how to align fabric and how to pin it properly. So what's important to note is there is some sewing language attributed to aligning fabric. So what you will find in sewing patterns is that fabric will be referred to as on its right side and on its wrong side. So basically what they're saying, and this is quite a good example because it's patterned, is that at the moment we're looking at the right side of the fabric. This is the fabric that's going to be on the outside of the garment, and then the wrong side of the fabric is what's inside the garment. So we've got right side and we've got wrong side, and quite often you end up aligning fabric right side to right side, which means that the right sides are overlaid together. It's not always the case, but it very often is. So we've got to make sure that we get the alignment of the fabric correct first and foremost. You'll also find sometimes that you'll have notches or different instructions as to where you need to align your fabric. So they're also really important to take note of. In this example, we're just using a rectangular fabric, so there isn't anything I need to follow here. So I'm now going to show you how to pin. Now you can pin vertically if you choose to, and that's absolutely fine. The only thing that you have to be mindful of is that you've got to make sure that your pins are going in the right direction as you sew it, because if you have the pin head the wrong way round, you'll have to stop sewing and then you'll have to remove the pin before you can get much further. Therefore, instead of pinning vertically, I recommend that you pin it horizontally, because one, you have more options that way as far as the sewing is concerned, and two, I personally think you actually get a better control over the tension. So I'm going to pin this vertically, and that is now ready to sew. So I'm now going to place my fabric into the machine. So I've got my tail thread from the top of the machine through the foot, and I'm leaving quite a long tail behind the machine first and foremost. Now you'll notice on the base plate that there are lines that go all the way up to the back, and they've got little numbers attributed to them. Now at the front, generally speaking, you've got the metric numbers. So in this case it's 10 mil, 20 mil, etc, etc, and then in the back it's imperial, so I've got 3/8, 5/8, etc, etc. So 5/8 attributes to about, or equates to about 1.5 centimeters or 15 mil. So I'm going to be using that line there, and when I'm sewing I'm going to be focusing on getting the raw edge of this fabric up against that line, and that is where my eye line is going to be. I'm not going to be looking at the needle, I'm looking at the line and the raw edge. Now when I place it into the machine, I don't want to get this edge too close to the needle. I want to start a little bit further back so that there is a bit of wiggle room and there is enough fabric over the feed dogs to catch the fabric and move it through the machine smoothly. So I'm going to wind my needle in, and I'm going to do a couple of reverse stitches to get going, and then I'm very slowly going to stitch this, and my focus is here. I'm going to take my pins out as I go. Get down to the bottom, do a couple of reverse stitches to lock that into position, and that is now done. Right, so this is the finished outcome. and it's looking lovely. That's a 5/8 seam allowance.